Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 22nd, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully, you had a good Tuesday, if you will. Like I said, mine was solid. We slept pretty well. We got up. We went to work. Work was good. No complaints. So we love that. And then after work, we went to the gym. Gym was good. My neck is still hurting a little bit, slight pain, but we're getting better every day. Lower back has been good, so we love that. Given that I kind of know that I have a bit of an odd schedule this week, and not to mention last week was a little bit weird because the lower back issue, so I didn't go as hard on the weekend. I just was like, I want to go harder today. I want to go a little bit harder than our usual. So I modified the workout a little bit up. Did a little bit just heavier weights, stuff like that. So that felt good. It was nice. Didn't really, put too much strain on me, I feel. I still think I'm doing some soul searching though, in terms of like the heavy lifting on the weekend. I don't know if it's just a temporary change I might need to make in terms of like just doing less reps, even though I don't really do that many reps to begin with. I don't know, just to really preserve my back or, insert body part here, just to really preserve it for as long as I can. Cause really, I just like doing it, y'all. Like it just feels good to lift. It feels good to like hit it. And, I think whenever I have situations where I can't do that, it makes me sad. It makes me a little bummed. So, I want to try to preserve that maybe as much as I can. But I also know that it's like, hey, I want to get in as many reps as I can. And I know if I can at least do 12, I would like to do at least 12. You know what I mean? So I always try to hit that number if I can. But I don't know. I've been doing some thinking, doing some soul searching. But yeah, like I said, good workout. And then, that leads us to back home and, we're chilling, just good vibes overall today. So I'll take it. Let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. We actually have a, decent amount on the docket. All right. First story comes from the Columbus Dispatch. Let's see if I can get my mouse. Okay, there we go. Ohio mayor ran over man fleeing from police, chief says. Butler Mayor Wesley Dingus, which God help me, what a perfect name for a guy like this, perfect name. Butler Mayor Wesley Dingus, 47, of Butler, was the driver of the vehicle that struck a man fleeing on foot from a Butler police traffic stop on July 11th. Bellevue Police Chief John Fletcher told media during a July 21st press conference that Dingus found a man with an active warrant out for his arrest. Fletcher said the mayor is technically the top law official in any given town. He said a mayor could, under certain circumstances, make an arrest. Until the press conference, officials have released scant details about the incident. So, let me just give you a quick summary here. We're talking about a mayor who ran over a suspect in the middle of some kind of fucking traffic stop, took the law into their own hands, and you're instantly seeing the police protect this guy like he's one of their own. Like, yeah, get behind this thin blue line, brother. We got you. Like, this story, I read this story like 3 times before I did it, and I'm like pretty sure that we got to go through this whole thing, if not for the audience sake, for mine, because I kind of can't believe that this is a thing that really happened in the state that I live in. It's just so fucking wild. Oh yeah. Last week, video surfaced of a red car driven by an employee of the village of Butler striking a man twice as the man allegedly fled from Butler police. The footage showed the driver exiting his car and fist bumping someone in the village on State Route 95. That was the mayor, by the way. At least I should say allegedly. I don't fucking know. Whatever. But that's so fucking crazy. You got it on film. Like, didn't I do a good job, guys? I'm just like you. I really am. Like, what a fucking... Sorry. Earlier, Fletcher confirmed the driver of the car was a... did I already read this part? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, earlier, Fletcher confirmed the driver of the car was a village employee, but would not release the man's name. The security camera video footage belongs to a business owner in the village, Fletcher said. The building is the former village of Butler office. Only a highly redacted version of the crash report was released by police. Love that. Released 911 tapes included the grandmother of the man asking dispatch to send a sheriff's deputy, not a police officer, to the scene because they are the ones who ran him over. Which I can imagine. You see that this guy hop out and dapping the fucking police like he's just like until you see the insignia and you go, okay, this is an employee, or maybe you just know because you're hip to this shit and it's like, oh, is that the fucking mayor who just hit the what? Like, processing that would be crazy. So I get how that weird that phone call kind of comes off, but I get it because this is like some Twilight shit. It just doesn't make sense in your brain, like what's happening here. And you're like, yeah, don't send the deputy. I don't know. Just send somebody specific. Butler County, or not Butler County, Butler Police Chief Eric Winbigler, asked Bellevue to conduct the investigation into the incident. Fletcher said the Bellevue Police Department did not file any charges to the Richmond County prosecutor, but sent a copy of the findings to Prosecutor Jody Schumacher's office. They will be determining if any charges are filed. Fielding questions from media, Fletcher said he is not here to determine whether Dingus ran over the man intentionally. Yes, he ran him over intentionally. I feel like you can say that because the first time, and I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but essentially, dude slides over the car. And then he gets run over with the wheel of the car. I feel like it's fucking intentional, but we'll get there. I'm sorry, but it's just like, come on, dude. For this guy to like be like, I don't know, who am I to say? You're fucking law enforcement. I would think you have a fucking brain to to fucking factor in that, figure this out. At least say that. But no, once again, they got to back their own now. And apparently this mayor, he's dapped up. He's with the Pope. He's with the Popo. He's with the people, with the boys. God, this fucking shit makes me mad. It's such a weird way, dude. We are here to provide non-biased, fact-driven report for the Richland County Prosecutor, Fletcher said. Sure. Let's see. At 7:03 p.m., Chief Winbigler was contacted by Mayor Dingus. So he phoned this in. He said Chief Winbigler was advised by Mayor Dingus that Mayor Dingus was following a vehicle that he recognized as having a male on board that had warrants by law enforcement. Like, dude wanted to be a cop so bad. He's so horny to do it. Like, don't you have, like, paper to push? Like, don't you have, like, mayoral duties to do? Like, he's like, nah, I know this guy. He's the dude. He's the dude with all the warrants. He's a bad guy. Ooh, I gotta get him. With what, dude? You fucking dingus? With what? Literally his car. Yo, it's just like, this is such an insane story to me. I just can't stop and keep saying that because it's just so fucking weird and bad. It's bad. It's not good to me. Butler Chief was advised of the vehicle description of a black Chevy Traverse and that it pulled into the Duke and Duchess of Butler, being 11 W Main Street. The chief arrived on scene, recognized the vehicle belonging to a 77-year-old Mary Hunter out of Butler, and she was the operator of the vehicle, Fletcher said. Anthony Ward, 37, who is staying with his grandmother, was in the front passenger. Now, this is the guy who did the running and got hit. Mr. Ward did in fact have outstanding warrant for his arrest, which was issued out of the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, Fletcher said. The warrant noted Ward was violent and dangerous. As Win Bigler exited his patrol car in full uniform, Hunter exited her vehicle and approached him, yelling at him. Mary Hunter was advised to step back and away from the chief, and Mary Hunter continued to yell at the chief, Fletcher said. The chief approached the passenger side of the vehicle where Mr. Ward was attempting to duck down and elude being seen by law enforcement. It's like, nah, dog, it's not going to work. He definitely sees you. Chief Winbigler repeated multiple times for Mr. Ward to show his hands as he approached the passenger side of the vehicle. After multiple commands, Mr. Ward did not comply, showing his hands. The chief then asked Mr. Ward to exit the vehicle as he advised him of the outstanding warrants. As Ward exited the vehicle, he advised the chief he was not going back to prison. You know what this cue? This is not a good scene after this. And a scuffle ensued as he exited the vehicle. Mr. Ward was able to break free from the chief's grip, and then he started to run across the road away from the chief. It was about this time that my investigating officers heard the stress and Chief Winbigler's voice over the radio, so they automatically proceeded to head that direction to try to figure out what was going on, Fletcher said. The Butler chief chased after Ward on foot, ordering him to stop, when a red vehicle passed the chief and pursued Ward into the roadway, hitting Ward with the front of the vehicle. Ward then slid off and continued to run into what they call Independence Alley, where the red vehicle attempted to prevent him from going further. Hold on, I'm having some technical difficulties. Bear with me. Ward then slid off and continued to run into what they call Independence Alley, where the red vehicle attempted to prevent him from further running and struck Mr. Ward with the front passenger corner. This is when Ward's left leg got caught in the wheel well and was stuck under the car, where his left leg was run over. The collision happened shortly before Bellevue's officers arrived on the scene. Only 10 to 12 seconds passed from the time Ward broke free of Winbigler until the time he was run over, Fletcher said. Officers started first aid on Ward and raided for the EMS of Worthington Township. Ward was then transported to Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital. This is so crazy. And meanwhile, these guys are dapping it up like, man, good job. Like, no, dude, like, this is fucking terrible. Like, if a normal civilian did this, this would be crazy. This would be a scandal. I don't see how it's not a scandal when the mayor fucking does it. He did not need to get involved. Like, you didn't even see police officers moving in this kind of way. You know what I mean? And we definitely have covered stories where police have moved in this manner where they're like, actually, oh, you hassled me, you tussled with me, boom, you're dead. I have every permission and every right to shoot you or bash your brains in. Like, but no, in this situation, we're not actually talking about this. We're talking about Mayor fucking Dingus. And he said, you know what? I'm on it. I got it. And this motherfucker think he's Starsky or some shit. He think he Hutch or some fucking shit. I don't understand. Oh, so that's Ohio for you. That's where I wanted to start off. Crazy ass fucking story. Now, a story that's been making the rounds on a lot of my news feed, which I'm at least happy. Obviously, this is a very fucked up situation that transpired. But I am glad to see that people are like sharing this to try to spread awareness. I think it's important. I was like, let me go ahead and just, at least touch on the story from people. Viral video shows Florida officers punch black man after he questions why headlights were required in daylight. We're just going to read the quick summary here. Video of William McNeil Jr.'s February arrest was released by his attorneys and quickly went viral. According to his arrest report, McNeil refused to exit an SUV or provide his identification, locked the driver's side door, and was given several warnings before the window was broken. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says it has launched an internal investigation. So he was driving under a suspended license. He didn't have his headlights on, and it was like raining. And so that's why they initially pulled him over. And he pulls over and he sets up a camera and he doesn't open the window. And you can hear them yelling at, like, as he's like setting it, like, it's like right before he set it up, you can hear him just kind of like sit him there, and you hear the cops. Then you see fucking boom, the window gets fucking broken. And, he's still communicating with them. And then boom, a cop fucking just punches him across the face. They open the door, pull him out, and then proceed to, I mean, from what you can hear, you don't see it, but essentially continue to just beat him up more and tell him to stop resisting. And they arrest him. Now, he also had marijuana in the car and I believe like a knife. He pled, I know we could just like actually go to the actual part of the story that explains it. He took like a non-combative charge though. McNeil was adjudicated guilty of resisting an officer without violence and driving with a suspended license, while drug possession charges and citations for not wearing a seatbelt. I always love this, like the seatbelt thing, because they will just say that. They'll just pop that fucking shit off. I've covered stories like that where that's fucking happened to me, where they're like, you didn't have your seatbelt on. And I literally have to go to them and I'm like, you know I have my fucking seatbelt on. Or you didn't know and you're just trying to say that. My seatbelt's been on this whole conversation. So what are you talking about? Knowing damn well I fucking have my seatbelt on. They just wanted to tack something on. Fucking hate that shit. Fuck these fucking cops. But yeah, I mean, not only was, you know, he roughed up, but his tip was toothed. He had a swollen fucking mouth. He had a swollen like lip. And at least in the video, from what you see, it's him being compliant. He's just sitting there. He's not doing anything in terms of like, hey, I just didn't open the window for you and I'm not giving you anything. I mean, yeah, you're being non-compliant, but that doesn't mean you should be handled like that. Like, that's just not humane in my mind. So I wanted to touch on that story at least and talk about it a little bit. And you know nothing's going to happen to these fucking cops. They're going to look into, they're going to do an internal investigation or some shit and going to find that, oh, he should just be on like some kind of administrative duty or something lame. I don't fucking know. You know how this fucking beat goes. So I at least wanted to mention it though. Two crazy fucking stories. And you know, we yesterday we covered the Breonna Taylor, you know, thing again with Haskins or whatever his fucking name is. Hank, whatever the fuck. It's frustrating, y'all. It's frustrating to, you know, have to live and think about this shit and ponder this shit. Even more so when you know it could just be you very easily, you know? So yeah. Okie dokie. Let me move on to our next story. This is a story that's been making the rounds. I'm kind of late to cover it, but from the Associated Press, Minnesota lawmaker to resign after being convicted of felony burglary. A Minnesota state senator convicted of burglary for breaking into her estranged stepmother's house plans to resign by early August, her lawyer said Monday. Democratic State Senator Nicole Mitchell has faced calls from fellow Minnesota lawmakers for her immediate resignation since her conviction on Friday. The jury deliberated for 3 hours before finding her guilty of first-degree burglary and possession of burglary tools. I believe she had like a crowbar and like gloves and like stuff like that. Like it was an actual kid. She was on some fucking Cy Cooper shit. The 51-year-old lawmaker needs 2 weeks to wrap up her legislative duties and secure health insurance for her son by the time of her August 4th resignation, her lawyer wrote in a statement. Mitchell represents a Democratic-leaning suburban district east of St. Paul in a closely divided state Senate, where she often casts the deciding vote. Mitchell's resignation won't necessarily leave the Senate closely tied as initially expected. Republicans later Monday announced the death of GOP lawmaker, State Senator Bruce Anderson of Buffalo, which means Democrats will continue to hold a narrow majority. So, I love that. Love the divine balance of life. There we go. After the verdict, Democratic Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy said that Mitchell told colleagues that she plans to resign if convicted, and I expect her to follow through on that pledge. Democratic Governor Tim Walz told reporters Monday he plans to call a special election to fill Mitchell's seat as soon as time permits. He said his goal would be to give candidates time to organize their campaigns and then fill the empty seat before the legislature reconvenes for his regular session in February. He said the likelihood now appears relatively slim that he'll need to call a special session this fall to plug any holes in the state budget resulting from President Trump's federal budget bill. Senate Republican leader Mark Johnson released a statement Monday pushing for Mitchell to resign immediately instead of waiting 2 weeks. So he's like, nah, get this criminal out of here. Get her out of here. Now, let me go to the story at hand. They actually kind of have this at the very end. Mitchell was arrested on April 22nd, 2024, and told police that she broke into her stepmother's home because the stepmother refused to give her items like her late father's ashes and other belongings. Mitchell's father and stepmother, Carol Mitchell, had been married for 40 years. So I can understand the sentiment, right? If you have my daddy's ashes and you're just sitting on them, and I want them, we've had this discussion, and you're not going to give them to me, I can understand wanting them back and wanting to go handle your business in a way, and hopefully in a nice, amenable, way. Nothing foul. I'm not trying to say that, but obviously coming with like burglary tools, like you're pulling a heist move on your own family member, like that's not very amicable. I think that's one of the words I was scrambling for. So yeah, I mean, initially saying, "Hey, I just wanted to, get this stuff back." Well, that's not a good answer, right? Later on the stand, the lawmaker backtracked her statement and said she had not intended to take anything and wanted to check on the well-being of her stepmother, who has Alzheimer's disease. But I think you're already hip deep in the shit here, because like the prosecution, they flipped it on her and they're like, "What are you doing checking on your stepmother with Alzheimer's with the crowbar? That doesn't make sense." So it's like, yeah, I kind of agree. There's no kind of about it. I very much agree. That's not good. That's not a good look. Not a good look, fam. So yeah, caught in the stew. But in this situation, I get it. It's not like she's trying to do some fucking like, bribery or anything like that. She's not got gold bricks in her goddamn pocket. She just wants her dad's ashes, and I get that. But then I also get, and this is maybe the ethical conversation that, maybe we can have is like, who's to say who's entitled to it, right? I obviously have my biased opinion. Sure. I have my dad's ashes in my living room, so I feel a way, obviously. But 40 years of marriage, that's not nothing. You know what I mean? That's 40 good years. You were there at the end. I don't know. Who can say? I leave that to my dear listeners, yes. Anyway, let's move on to another story from ABC News. U.S. Olympic and Paralympic officials bar transgender women from competing in women's categories. Transgender women will no longer be eligible to compete for the United States in the Olympic or Paralympic Games in women's categories after a recent policy change from the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, or the USOPC. The committee cited President Donald Trump's February executive order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, which mandates immediate enforcement, including against schools and athletic associations that deny women's single-sex sports in single-sex locker rooms, according to the document, and directs state attorneys general to identify the best practices for enforcing the mandate. In a memo to the Team USA community on Tuesday, obtained by ABC News, USOPC President Gene Sykes and CEO Sarah Hirshland referenced Trump's executive order and said, as a federally chartered organization, we have an obligation to comply with federal expectations. Excuse me. The USOPC is responsible for supporting, entering, and overseeing U.S. teams in the Olympic and Paralympic Games, as well as sporting events for all ages, from youth to masters competitions. In an update to its athlete safety policy, without using the word transgender by name, the USOPC said its revised policy emphasizes the importance of ensuring fair and safe competition environments for women. So, I mean, of course, this is done under the guise of like, hey, we're protecting women, we're making this a safe space for them, and because of that, we are infringing on the rights of people who identify as women. It just doesn't matter. Like, and it doesn't matter not only that you don't identify, or that you identify as a woman, and that you are meeting our previous requirements that we set. That just doesn't matter anymore. We're just moving the goalpost now, and it's just like, we're actually just taking it. You just can't compete. We don't want to make any more reasons or excuses on that. Just, you can't compete. I think they said that you can compete in men's division. They're not doing anything of that as of yet, at least to my knowledge. The revised U.S. OPC policy doesn't outline how the ban will work, and if the same ruling applies to men's sports. I've noticed this too, of like they just kind of doggedly use the defense of like, hey, we're defending women here, and then that's it. They kind of drop the conversation when it comes to men, and oftentimes this is not a conversation until there is a person who is doing well at, insert sport here, that is a trans woman, and they're like, we have to make a fucking stink about this. We have to talk about how women are endangered, and well, these people, they're biologically different, and this just shouldn't be fair. Everyone's biologically different. Like, this is, every time we get here, I always get so frustrated because it's just a stupid conversation, and people want to think like, oh, they actually are Bill Nye the fucking Science Guy, and they're just not, and they don't care. They just want to be upset, and because they don't want to actually deal with some inner confusion or whatever the fuck they have, and they just cling to these weird takes in my mind. Like, I just never understand the idea of saying, oh, we're defending women here. I mean, maybe I'm out of turn for fucking saying that, but I mean, that's you and J.K. Rowling got that take, so I enjoy that. Enjoy your company, I guess. I know we could kind of fast track that, but that's more or less it there. It's unfortunate, and this is only going to be more so. We have the Olympics, I believe, coming up in L.A. So naturally, we're setting the pace, we're setting the stage here in America. So naturally, it's like, okay, yes, we're gonna make sure that if you're trans, you're gonna have a hard time. Like that is sadly how we are choosing to set this up. So for anyone internationally coming in here, it's just gonna be the same kind of thing. And I imagine they're gonna want the Olympics to follow suit. I mean, more or less, Trump has said that already in statements. So it's unfortunate. This shit makes me mad. We've already talked about the last Olympics, and it's like, truly, you just should let these people compete and enjoy the moment, and we can just move the fuck on instead of trying to make this fucking hay about it. It's just so wild to me. Anyway, let me have a drink of water, and we'll cover another story. I'm quite parched. Now, this really isn't like a major story, honestly, the one we're about to get into. But I don't know. We're on Habba watch. We are. I'll say it. I'll come out. I'll say it. We're on Habba watch. I mentioned this previously the last time I talked about it, where I was just like, where is she gonna wind up? Because I don't follow everybody in the Trump orbit, but this is one of the faces for Trump, right? And I remember she was one of his, big lawyers, one of the higher names, taking it in terms of like some of the cases. And I remember the moment when she had that Alienware ass laptop, and she's just doing her thing. And I remember that the rumor mill was when Trump won, and he was setting up all the positions and everything like that, that she was going to get the position for the U.S. attorney, attorney general, whatever the fuck, right? And she turned it down. At least that's the rumor. At least that's what I heard, right? And it later goes on to Pam Bondi. And I've been thinking, I'm like, was that a dumb move? Was that a chess move? Like, and we're seeing now, okay, this is where she was trying to end up. So we got a little bit of an update there. I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to cover it. Also, I do have a picture in the middle there for the thumbnail. I don't have an eye for this because I'm just stupid, or maybe I'm just coy. I don't know. But I feel, and this is vain, and this is maybe me being a little bit ableist and a little bit page 7, if you will. This is for the girls. I don't know. But I feel like she got some work done. I'm not even saying it looks bad. I just feel like she did get some work done. I don't feel like this is the same Habba from before. Habba put some stank on it. I think it's in the lips, but I don't know. I really need a dear listener to examine and really hit the Google images. And hey, if you know, I need more political friends. I really do. I want to talk shop. I want to talk news. That's all I want. No one wants to talk news with me. It makes me so sad. Anyway, from ABC News. DOJ fires U.S. attorney for New Jersey after state picks her over former Trump lawyer Alina Habba. Habba. Sorry, I had to do that at least once. The Justice Department on Tuesday said it fired Desiree Leigh Grace as the newly appointed U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey hours after federal judges in the state chose her over President Donald Trump's pick, Alina Habba. The announcement came after federal judges in New Jersey opted not to appoint Habba, Trump's former personal attorney, as the state's top federal prosecutor on a permanent basis. Trump appointed Habba as the state's acting U.S. attorney in March. This Department of Justice does not tolerate rogue judges, especially when they threaten the president's core Article 2 powers. Attorney General Pam Bondi posted on X in announcing Grace's firing. It's like, that is just like, you're just popping off a shot here. It's like, that just feels so unrelated. It's like, clearly you did this to spite the whole process because the judge didn't pick Habba. Like, it just feels so blatant. But once again, it doesn't matter. Everything is so fucking politicized. I love that was something that the Trump in general and the Trump admin is supposed to be touting as like, none of this is personal. This is all like the way that this just should work. This is how common sense should just be. And it's like, you guys are saying, like, you guys are doing the thing that you were saying the Biden administration was doing the whole fucking time. It's just so blatant. It's just so face up. Grace was Habba's first assistant, and this is why another thing that confuses me too. Grace was Habba's first assistant before district judges elevated her to the top job, setting up Habba's ouster. So it's like, I almost wonder if the idea here was like, hey, we're not going to pick Habba. We know it's who he wants. We're not going to do that. Like, she's not the one. But we will pick someone in the camp, right? Like, well, like, that was her assistant. It's close enough. And it's like, no, it's not. And then they literally fire that person. Like, that's so fucking disrespectful. That's so fucked. Because it's not over the merit of your work. It is over the fact that you're like, nope, you did something political, and we're doing something political to stop you. Countered. Like, that's just petty. Face up. What the fuck it is. Habba was awaiting Senate confirmation when her 120-day term as acting U.S. attorney expired this week. Federal law gives district judges the authority to name a United States attorney if the president's nominee is not acted upon by the U.S. Senate within 120 days. Previous Justice Departments have recognized that district judges have the authority to name a United States attorney if the president's nominee is not acted upon by the U.S. Senate within 120 days. It's unclear if the Trump Justice Department now believes it can bypass that process, or if it plans to seek Senate confirmation for Habba. Grace, a 9-year career prosecutor, previously ran the New Jersey office's criminal division. Habba served as Trump's legal spokesperson in several cases after he left the White House in 2021. So I believe that this was going to be her favor to get cashed. She was already running point out of New Jersey for Trump. She was prosecuting against New York Mayor Ras Baraka, and then U.S. Representative LaMonica McIver. That was over the ICE detentions when they were like out protesting and like things got, I guess, physical, where they were like hassling them and they're like, and they got detained. So it became a whole fucking thing. So, I mean, she's been kind of tip of the spear out of New Jersey for this shit. And I think this was just supposed to be her floated position. And essentially, the powers that be said, no, we're going to try to stop that. And then the Trump administration's like, oh, no, the fuck you're not. It's also worth noting, too, there's other people who like have been in very similar situations. Todd Blanche, Emil Bove, and John Sauer. Now, Blanche and Sauer, we really haven't talked about. I mean, I know they're active on the scene, obviously. But Bove, we did talk about. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. It was the Eric Adams shit. Yes. I had to, like, pull it out from my memory well. But he was the one who was essentially pushing the buttons saying, hey, prosecutors, like, you have to let this go. You have to drop it. And they're like, we have a slam dunk case. What the fuck are you talking about? No, we're running the case. And he just fired the main prosecutor. And then I think the other person on the team dropped out, or he like quit. And essentially he's like, I'll keep doing that if I have to, but we're gonna put someone in to sort this out and have it be done. We want Eric Adams on side. We want this shit done, swept under the rug. We don't care. So Bove, I believe, to my knowledge, I'm getting this probably wrong, but I think he is running to get an appeals judge nomination. That's his position that he's supposed to be bequeathed. And everyone's saying, like, this guy is not qualified for this job. He is definitely just here because he's a loyalist to Trump, and that's he's just getting his. And, I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything done to stop him from getting that position. But we'll see. Same thing with Habba. We'll see if she gets her little fun in the sun spot in New Jersey. I don't know. But yeah, there we go. I got to talk about that, and that makes me feel good. That's why I'm here, y'all. That's why I do it. Anyway, we have one more story that I wanted to cover, and yeah, we got to do another obit. We got to do another condolences. We got to give flowers to the Prince of Darkness. Damn. Yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll close it out. Oy. All right. From The Guardian. Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath frontman, an icon of British heavy metal, dies aged 76. I'd like to think that that's how you want me to do the intro. Goddamn. Ozzy Osbourne, whose gleeful Prince of Darkness image made him one of the most iconic rock frontmen of all time, has died aged 76. A statement from the Osbourne family reads, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. No cause of death was given, though Osbourne had experienced various forms of ill health in recent years. Osbourne was one of the most notorious figures in rock, an innovator whose eerie wail helped usher in heavy metal, a showman who once bit the head off a bat on stage, an addict whose substance abuse led him to attempt to murder his wife, and laterly a reality star, much loved for his bemusement at family life on the Osbournes. His death comes less than 3 weeks after his retirement from performance. On July 5th, Osbourne reunited with his original bandmates in the pioneering group Black Sabbath for the first time since 2005 for Back to the Beginning, an all-star farewell concert featuring some of the biggest names in metal. Also, Elton John performed or was there. That's fucking cool. I've been laid up for 6 years, and you've got no idea how I feel, he told the crowd that night, referring to extensive health issues, including a form of Parkinson's and numerous surgeries on his spine, which I found out from this article. Apparently, he got from what they call in the UK a quad bike, which is like a four-wheeler. A four-wheeler. A four-wheeler. I don't know if they say that in Australia, but I'd like to think so. No, an ATV. I don't know, as we say in the States. Whatever. All-terrain vehicle. I don't know why I got so hung up on that, but I had to look that up. I was like, what is a quad bike? Oh. They go into his details, sorted and all. Yes, he bit the head off a bat. He says that he thought it was a prop and it was like real. He also bit the head off of like 2 doves, so that was a thing. And I have to make this as personal as possible, right? I fuck with Black Sabbath. I fuck with Ozzy Osbourne. Crazy Train was cool. Bark at the Moon, fucking cool. From Sabbath though, War Pigs. God damn, War Pigs. War Pigs hit, and that was like maybe one of my political awakening moments. Was like listening to that song. I don't care if it's corny or not. It just is so good. Was it The Wizard? That song also fucking rips. I mean, everything in that album is fucking good. But am I the biggest metalhead? No, but I definitely recognize, like, dude, I fuck with them. I fuck with Ozzy at the end of the day. That was cool. I even fuck with like in later life he like did this shit with like Post Malone and shit. Obviously people thought that was corny as fuck, but at that time I fucked with it. I loved it. I thought it was fun. And Travis Scott was on the song. What a crazy song. What wild. So yeah, like I'm trying to think. Oh, the rub. Going through some of his sordid stuff. There's definitely abuse. They mentioned the attempted murder of Sharon Osbourne, right? Obviously, there's some opinions, there's statements, there's things said. Apparently, he killed some cats. I saw the alt girlies getting really mad about that. Like, I can't believe people. Blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, I know. It's a real row. It's a real problem. I know. People just not separating the art from the art. I don't know, whatever it is these days. But that being said, he's gonna be missed. I'm giving flowers. I don't give a shit. Yeah, man. R.I.P. But yeah, that's where we'll close it out for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's a free action that helps out. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen to. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Spread the word. All the stars are always cool because, that's just good for reviews when people see it. Don't give me 4 stars. I say that, though, knowing good and damn well sometimes I get 4 stars. And I'm like, damn, this is going to come back on me. And don't do that. Don't be karmic retribution. Don't do that. I'm being real with you, okay? My dear listener, don't do this. 5 stars. 5 stars are no stars, That's a vibe. Like I'm a GameStop employee, You know the fucking vibes. But truly, if you do know those things and you just like to vibe, you just like to listen to me yap, that's so cool. That really is why I do it, Even if you don't hit me up, the fact that you're partaking in this project with me alongside, while you drive to work or from work or while you're just shooting the shit, while you're on a trip, I'm glad I'm with you, in a box with a fox. You know what I mean? It's just you and me eating green eggs and ham and shit. I don't know. I'm out of rhymes. I think I'm out of time. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.